All right. My name is Joe Pelle. I'm the Boulder County Sheriff. Today's been a harrowing day in Boulder County with 2 significant fires fueled by dry conditions and very high winds. We currently have thousands of individuals in the south part of our county and in the areas of Superior and Louisville who have been evacuated. We know that there are structures, both homes and businesses, that have been burned and lost. I'm speaking about hundreds of structures. We know that people are anxiously waiting for word about the conditions of their homes and their neighborhoods. I want to assure you that our fire personnel are working as hard as they can to save additional structures as we speak, and when it's safe to do so, we'll start the emotional and painful process of assessing damages. The 2 fires started late this morning. The first fire, called the Middle Fork Fire, was reported just before 10:30 near the intersection of North Foothills Highway and Middle Fork Road. That fire was attacked pretty quickly and laid down later in the day, and it's currently being monitored. There are no reports of structures lost for the Middle Fork Fire. The second fire, the Marshall Fire, was reported just after 11 o'clock a.m. at South Foothills and Marshall Road. Over the course of the day, this fire ballooned and spread rapidly east. It's currently reported to be at about 1,600 acres. It spread through Superior and parts of Louisville and unincorporated Boulder County. A Vista Hospital and many care facilities in the area have been evacuated. The Louisville Police Chief and City Manager, or Mayor, are here to provide more information on Louisville and what's happening there, and they'll talk to you in just a minute. At this point, we only have 1 reported injury, a minor injury to an officer's eye from wind-blown debris. It's too early to tell if we have any fire-related casualties. We have no fire-related casualties reported currently. However, I'd like to emphasize that due to the magnitude of this fire, the intensity of this fire, and its presence in such a heavily populated area, we would not be surprised if there are injuries or fatalities. The conditions around the Marshall Fire are still very volatile and unsafe. We'd encourage anyone in a mandatory evacuation zone who has not exited to do so. Others in nearby neighborhoods may be under pre-evacuation orders. We encourage all residents to stay alert for any orders from officials. We have evacuation centers open at several locations: the North Boulder Rec Center, the Longmont Senior Center, and the YMCA in Lafayette. The YMCA in Lafayette is taking pets. For the latest map of the fire, please go to www.boco, for Boulder County, boco.org/OEM info map. Large animals are currently being evacuated to the Boulder County Fairgrounds, and there are hundreds of them there now. Evacuees who are COVID positive are asked to go to the COVID-19 Recovery Center at the Mount Calvary Lutheran Church, which is located on Stanford Court in Boulder. We are working with the American Red Cross to establish overnight shelters for individuals and families who need them. The best information about these resources is available at our website, boulderoem.com. In addition, a community call center has been established. The call center is 303-413-7730. And if you have questions about the status of your home, evacuation routes, whether your street's open, that kind of thing, I would please encourage you to call 303-413-7730 rather than 911. Our 911 lines have been inundated all day. As you can imagine, evacuation routes have been heavily trafficked. We have sheriffs, police, National Guards coming out, other law enforcement officials assisting motorists fleeing the area and keeping evacuation routes open. We want to thank the many agencies that are responding to this emergency with us. We will be sure to recognize them as the situation becomes more under control. We hope the strong winds will decrease through the evening and the night, but our forecasters are anticipating continued occasional gusts. Individuals should not attempt to return to their neighborhoods until they receive official word it's safe to do so. This may or may not be for several hours. In regards to structure and damage and that kind of thing. I have some initial estimates right now. Again, we're up to approximately 1,600 acres. We know that approximately 370 homes in the Sagamore subdivision, which is just west of Superior, have been lost. There's a potential of 210 homes lost in Old Town Superior. The Target shopping complex in Superior on fire. The Element Hotel in Superior fully engulfed. We had the one officer injured. Fortunately, no other reports of evacuation or damage. I want to thank the following agencies who jumped in to assist us today under extreme situation in really quick order, and that's the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, the Larimer County Sheriff's Office, the Golden Police Department, the Longmont Police Department, Louisville Police Department, Lafayette Police Department, the Boulder Police Department, our Sheriff's Office, the State of Colorado Division of Public Safety. Thank you, Director, for being here. The Governor's Office, Department of Homeland Security, the National Guard has been activated thanks to the Governor's Office, and we have more assistance and more help coming in regards to federal aid and federal assistance and state aid and state assistance. Governor Polis will talk to you about that in a few minutes. So next, I'm going to introduce officials from the city of Louisville, the police chief, and let him introduce his mayor as well. They'll have a few words, and then the governor will speak.
Thank you. Good evening. I want to thank, in addition to the thanks that Joe Pelle provided, we've also got Chief Harold here from the Boulder Police Department, Chief Jeff Satter here, who's been with me this afternoon, and I know the Boulder Police Department's been working as well, so we appreciate it. My name is Dave Hayes. I'm the police chief in Louisville. It's Hayes. Today is filled with some stories of incredible loss and tragedy, but there are also many stories of the people of Louisville coming together to support and care for one another. Thank you to all the people of Louisville for the way you handled and responded to the fires today. I ask that in the months ahead you continue to find ways to assist each other in healing from what has happened today. I would also like to surround our surrounding law enforcement agencies, as the sheriff did, and fire agencies that came to support our efforts today. There's just several to mention specifically today because they're here. Longmont, City of Boulder, Lafayette, Erie, Broomfield Police Department, and the list goes on and on and on. And that's also on the fire side. Many of these folks are continuing to work. They'll be working through the night and through, I'm sure, the weeks ahead, so hard to prevent more damage from happening. The medical and treatment facilities in our city, both the Vista Hospital and Centennial Peaks Hospital, have taken great action in assuring the safety of their patients. There have been patients who have been evacuated to other facilities, and I would ask that if you need information about a patient, you contact the hospital directly. The Louisville Police and Fire Departments are currently operating our individual command post in the King Soopers parking lot at 1375 East South Boulder Road. There were some community rumors that the Louisville Police Department was evacuated because of a fire at the police department. This was not the case, but rather the police department was evacuated due to spot fires in the area. I was in the building this afternoon as we began to set up our emergency operations center, small one for the city of Louisville, and actually could see flames right outside the window where we've got some vegetation. The Louisville Police and Fire Departments will continue to serve our city tonight and throughout this tragedy. We also ask that the people of Louisville continue to act calmly and appropriately. If you are able to stay in a location outside of Louisville tonight, that we ask that you do so. The Louisville Police Department will continue to patrol the streets of Louisville and will not tolerate looting or other related activities. We ask that you stay tuned to city and police department communication outlets, as well as the county information that Joe mentioned, for updates and evacuations and fire efforts. Our thoughts and prayers are with all of those who have been affected by the fires today. The community of Louisville is resilient, and together we will forge through this together. Thank you. And with that said, I'm going to introduce Louisville City Mayor Ashley Stoltzman. Excuse me.
Hi, I'm Ashley Stoltzman, Louisville's mayor. I want to first take a moment to thank all of the first responders who have risked their lives today to try to get this emergency under control. It's been a great effort, and they're still working into the night. So thank you to all of the different police officers and firefighters and other first responders who have been helping our community. To community members, thank you very much for evacuating in an orderly and quick manner. Please stay evacuated. We want everybody to stay safe, and we're going to get through this together. We need everybody to stick together at the different shelter-in-place sites. So go to the YMCA in Lafayette. You can go to the Senior Center in Longmont, and just make sure that you're somewhere out of Louisville and safe. So thank you so much, and keep looking on the emergency website for updated information as the emergency is changing very rapidly.
The eyes of the nation of Colorado turn to Boulder County, where 1,600 at least acre fire has destroyed hundreds of homes. Just to put this in perspective, in the summer of 2020, Colorado had the 3 largest wildfires in the history of our state, each one over 200,000 acres. That's a number. Those are huge numbers. But what's important to recognize is while there were some structures lost, those were largely BLM U.S. Forest Service land. This area, for those who don't know this area of Boulder County, is right in and around suburban subdevelopments, stores. It's like the neighborhood that you live in. It's like the neighborhood that any of us live in. And so 1,600 acres near a population center can be, and is, in this case, absolutely devastating. We declared a state of emergency earlier today. I just found out that we've been approved for Fire Management Assistance Grant, FMAG. That's federal assistance. We're going to, of course, be starting damage assessments for public assistance and individual assistance. Many people, of course, also have that alongside fire insurance, but there's no way to quantify in any financial way the price of a loss, of losing, the chair that was handed down to you from your grandmother, of losing your childhood yearbooks, of losing your photos, of losing your computer files, which hundreds of Colorado families have experienced today with no warning. Gusts of 100, 110 miles an hour can and have moved this fire down a football field in a matter of seconds. Very little time to get out, very little time to even get the most important parts of your life. And yes, it'll be a difficult process for Colorado families who are directly affected to rebuild their lives. I hope if you have friends in the affected areas, as we do in Superior and Louisville, in areas of Broomfield or Lafayette that may be under evacuation, contact them, see if they need anything. If you have spare beds in your home, they might very well need them. But it also shows how challenging it is with severe weather conditions to be able to battle this kind of fire. Here in December, who would think we'd be facing a major grassland fire? We've been unable to fly state aircraft all day because of the wind conditions. We stood up the Emergency Operations Center earlier in the day, providing help through the Federal Emergency Disaster Reclamation and then any additional resources that are needed from the Colorado National Guard. But this fire is not so much a question of resources. We have a profound sense of gratitude for the firefighters, police officers, and others, those working in the evacuation centers. But this fire is frankly a force of nature. We hope that the winds die down, that the weather changes. But for those who are directly affected, know that you don't stand alone. The people of Colorado stand with you. For those who don't know if they have a home to return to, our prayers are with you for a safe return. For those who've lost everything that they've had, know that we will be there for you to help rebuild your lives in the state of Colorado. With that, we'll take some questions.
Sheriff, how many people may be unaccounted for tonight?
We currently do not have any reports of missing persons, and we have no casualty reports. As I said, given the ferocity and the scope of this fire, it wouldn't surprise us if we do find a casualty.
Are firefighters able to get into these areas that have already burned?
Some of them, yes, and some of them, no. It's going to be, this is all dependent on what the wind does tonight, and that's going to determine everything in regard to our ability to, access points and that kind of thing. So we've actually had, deputy sheriffs and firefighters in areas that had to pull out because it just got overrun. So there was a lot of brave stuff going on today out there. So
Do you have any idea of how many people have been evacuated?
tens of thousands. Yeah, I don't have an exact number.
Sheriff, we have a lot of people really concerned about their homes. Can you repeat the number of homes in each of the 2 subdivisions and also repeat the information about the Target and the hotel that burned?
Yeah. So the Sagamore subdivision is just west, on the west side of Superior. It appears that all the homes there were lost. There's 370 homes there. Old Town Superior, we believe approximately 210 homes have been lost. Now, between Superior and Marshall, out there by El Dorado Springs, there are a number of homes and small subdivisions that lost homes. So we're potentially talking about over 500 homes and thousands of people in need and in crisis tonight.
For those who are trying to figure out where we are in battling this fire, do you think we're still in the beginning? Are we in the middle? I know we're not at the end.
The end won't come until the wind subsides. This is the kind of fire you can't fight head on, right? And when that single fire engine and police officer pull into a subdivision and 12 homes are burning, all they can try to do is protect the next one. So, we hope the loss is over tonight. We hope these winds subside, and we hope that our brave firefighters are going to get a headway tonight and put a stop to it.
Sheriff, any idea what the cause of the fire was? And then also you had said that you expected another fire in the mountains. Had you guys planned for this contingency at all of a fire sweeping across these kind of crowded subdivisions?
Yeah, we planned. We have an Office of Disaster Management, the city and county. It's one of the best offices in the state of Colorado as far as counties go, and we're really well practiced at disasters, unfortunately, in our county. But yeah, so preliminarily, the reports were down power lines. And we had deputies in the area who confirmed there were down power lines. So we believe that's what caused the fire. That assessment and the actual determination of that will be made for real and for final, probably in the next couple of days.
Is that the Marshall fire?
Yes, that's both fires.
Both fires?
How close are the flames physically to the Vista Hospital?
Chief Hayes, I don't know the answer to that question. Do you?
Within a block or two there.
Within a block or two, and I know the reason the hospital said they closed was because of smoke. They were getting smoke in their facility and difficulty for patients to deal with
It's a pretty
it.
big parking lot. There's not much shrubbery in the parking lot, so I think it's, as the sheriff mentioned, it's more about the smoke and the ventilation system than it is concern about the fire itself reaching the hospital.
Do you know how many patients you have there or how many employees?
We don't know.
And Governor or Stan, do you know if the winds die down, will the state planes be able to fly tonight potentially? Is there a chance for that? Are they on standby?
Hi there, my name's Stan Hilke, Director of Public Safety. We do have aircraft that can help fly, and they can fly at night to help map the fire and to look for other hot spots that may not be known to firefighters. And we're monitoring the weather minute by minute to see if that's a possibility, but we haven't been able to use any of our aircraft so far.
Are we expecting crews to be able to go into those burn spots in the coming days to not only just assess the damage, but see if there are people there?
Yeah, so the damage assessment process will start as soon as possible. So Boulder County has a team with our assessor's office that have all the plats, all the properties. We have detectives and other county employees. The State Department of Fire Prevention and Control has a damage assessment team. They've already volunteered and been in touch with us to assist us starting tomorrow. The weather tomorrow looks much better. It looks like the winds are going to die down and potentially we're going to get some moisture. And when that happens, the game changes, right? So 80, 100-mile-an-hour winds and 40-foot flame lengths, none of us have a chance. But tomorrow I think we'll have a chance, and tomorrow I think all those processes will begin. Actually, how many houses do we have any losses of human life, animals, that kind of thing? We're going to try to figure all that out in the next few days.
How hard is this for your crew to have to show up to a scene, see these houses ablaze, and really not be able to do that?
So our folks, the police officers, the deputy sheriffs, and the firefighters are essentially just running ahead of this today, trying to get people out of the way. That's all you can do. And I was listening to the radio, we had deputies pulling into subdivisions and, peeling the stickers off the side of their car, and they had to bail. They couldn't stay. So, thankfully, we have a sophisticated phone notification system for our community. Everbridge, we launched, dozens and dozens and dozens of evacuation orders today. Our deputies, the Louisville police officers, all the police officers that came to help us, they were rushing ahead of those flames, trying to get people out of harm's way.
I would just add that because this is handled at the community level, some of the first responders themselves live in areas that are under evacuation orders as we speak. So without knowing the status of their own home, they are still on the front line, working all night as needed to help with evacuations and containing the fire. With so many homes under evacuation orders, it's really so many folks that are the backbone of the community that live in those homes. And our first responders might not know whether they have a home to return to, but they're still on the front lines doing everything they can to save others.
Governor, do you know how many National Guard members are out here and what their main role is?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they're not here yet. I ordered them today. Director Hilke helped me with that order. I ordered a dozen two-person units, and they're hopefully going to be here tonight to help with the night shift work of road closures and evacuations and that kind of thing.
Residents in Boulder, Lafayette, and other nearby towns are wondering if they're safe and what they should do. Do you have advice?
So my advice, and just is based on the trajectory of this fire, is if you are north of the current evacuation zones, you're in pretty good shape. We've been really concerned about the speed of the fire and, issuing those evacuation orders as fast as possible to the areas that we think are impacted. So if you're not on that evacuation map, I do believe you're probably safe, but you need to be alert and aware and stay in tune.
If you're in doubt, call the hotline 303-413-7730. You can also visit boulderoem.com for regular updates. Final question.
Sure, you've done a lot of fires before. Can you kind of talk about the speed of this one and the difference, and then maybe GPA, since you were actually in the fire, can you describe kind of what it was like being in there while the fire was coming through and what it looked like?
Yeah, as the governor said, this was consuming football field lengths of land in seconds. And, my deputies and animal control officers that were trying to get a hold of horses and that kind of thing said that they've never seen anything like it. And we've had a lot of fire. So this was a horrific event.
I think it's pretty surreal. We have a briefing room in our police department, and as I was looking out the window across our parking lot, there's kind of an open space area, and you can actually see flames, as Joe mentioned, 8 or 10 feet up in the air, wind still blowing, and then we have some vegetation around our building, jumped through the parking lot or over the parking lot to the vegetation that's right up next to the window. So as we're trying to wind down our emergency operations center at the police department and figure out where we're going to go to next, in our case it was King Soopers, it's the next best idea that we had. We just had to leave the building because not only smoke and fire, and then also lost power at the same time. So,
Thank you all. There'll be more information tomorrow.
Yeah. We don't intend to do another media briefing. We'll handle everything through normal course of PIOs and social media. Thanks for coming.
thanks, Joe.